Hi friends, my name is Bhavya Mangla. I'm IATF qualified auditor doing audit for the automotive sector for the last 18 years. I'm again back with a very interesting topic. What are the three key corporate responsibility policies which are as per IATF 16949 2016 version? Well, if we talk about the policies in general, in our day-to-day life also, we have got many policy. Like from our early childhood, we used to hear honesty is the best policy. Then at times, we also have a policy that whenever we are going out from home, we'll do some prayer and after that only we'll go out of the home. Or maybe it is like that whenever we are buying something, we have to negotiate something, and unless and until we can reduce some price, we'll not buy something. So these all can be some different policies, or maybe that will always reach on time can be a policy for many of the people. Something similar is in the industrial environment. When we talk about ISO 9000, there is a quality policy. Similarly, for environment and safety, there is environment policy and safety policy. And these days, there is another policy which is very popular in India that is called POSH, POSH, Prevention of Sexual Harassment. And similarly, there can be many more policies. But when we talk about IATF 16949 2016 version, as per clause number 5.1.1.1, they are talking about three policies at a minimum which should be there by the organization. And these three policies are related to anti-bribery, code of conduct, and ethics escalation policy. Ethics escalation policy is also called whistleblowing policy. So let's talk in detail about all these three policies. So let's start with the first policy, which is about anti-bribery policy. So when we talk about anti-bribery policy, the intent is that we are talking about a policy which can demonstrate a company's commitment to prevent bribery and corrupt activities, and it is expected that all the staff people or the employees are aware or they are familiarized about this particular information. There is a specific standard ISO 37001 2016 version which is specifically talking with respect to this particular thing, anti-bribery. And if we talk about different examples in industry, you can find different corruption activities which are happening globally, wherein we are seeing so many cases are happening. It can be with respect to the companies of a global level, wherein we are talking about some bribery issue, or it can be some other issues which are there. Say, for example, if we talk about India, there is a 2G scam or the coal scam, and there can be many other things which are there globally which is happening. Now, that brings to the second policy, that is about code of conduct. So when we talk about code of conduct, our intent is that we need to lay out a policy which talks about the company's principles, standards, moral, ethical expectations, and which is expected that employees and all the third parties should be aware about and they implement it effectively. And in general, it is expected that code of conduct is an integral part of the compliance which ensures that everyone is following the company policy. And there can be many things that can fall under the code of conduct policy, which may include company values, employees' behavior, dress code, leave policy, conflict of interest, communication, harassment, confidentiality, and there can be many more things which can be a part of that. And we talk about some of the examples with respect to industry. Say, for example, there is the leave encashment policy or there is a Mediclaim policy. So whether people are actually spending some money on the Mediclaim and then they are claiming from the organization, or they are just making some bogus bills from that. And there can be many more things with respect to that can fall under code of conduct policy. That brings policy number 3, that is ethics escalation policy, which is also called the policy which is related to whistleblowing policy also. So when we talk about ethics escalation policy, the intent is that we are allowing an employee or an interested party to report unethical conduct above and beyond their direct line manager. So here the intent is that organization is having an escalation process so that this information with respect to any misconduct can reach to the appropriate personnel. In many companies, they generally appoint an ombudsman, and the purpose of ombudsman is just to make sure that yes, the information is going to the right people and they are taking some action. And there are many examples in industry with respect to that. The Volkswagen emission case is a very popular case with respect to it, and there can be many more examples in industry with respect to ethics escalation. And there is a specific standard ISO 372 2021, which is a guideline standard which talks in detail with respect to ethics escalation. Now that brings another important point. How can an organization communicate about these three policies to the people? So there can be different ways to do that. One very easy way is that during annual appraisal, it can be communicated, or maybe whenever a new person is joining at that time of induction, it can be done. In many companies, there is a way of communicating it with the help of leaflets, or maybe it is a part of a diaries and all that, through which it is communicated. In many organizations, they display it at different places, maybe at the company gate, reception, conference room, intranet, and many other ways there with respect to communication about it. Now, talking about some of the key challenges that industry is facing with respect to these three corporate policies. The first and the foremost important challenge is that who actually is making these corporate responsibility policies? Is it the MR of the company? Is it the consultant, or actually the top management? Secondly, whenever you're making these policies, how often people are aware about these policies apart from the management representative, consultant, or the top management? Thirdly, how the organization makes sure that these three important policies which are coming down from the top management, they are actually being communicated to all the relevant stakeholders. How often we are taking care about that, and whether the effectiveness of these three corporate policies is actually being reviewed in the management review. And the fourth and the most important is when we talk about ethics escalation policy, how do we make sure that there is actually a person which is identified and all the people are aware about it, that in case they want to escalate something, they can come down to that particular person and then communicate. How often that actually is happening? So if I do a summary, I talked about three corporate policies. Then I talked about how it can be communicated and what are the present industry challenges which are there with respect to that. My next video will be with respect to fault tree analysis, which is called FTA. In general, I'm getting a lot of good feedback from your side and they are helping me to understand your expectation. So please do continue that. And in case you want to understand about this video a little bit more in detail, you will find a link below. If you click that, you will find a blog there, and there you will find this information in much more detail. And in case you are liking these kind of videos and blogs, you can always share with your friends and colleagues, and you can subscribe to my YouTube channel and my website, bhavyamangla.com. Thank you.